In this video, I will be comparing the Islamic State to the Ottoman Empire. Although both follow a similar form of laws applying to caliphates and conquer territories to establish their military power, the Islamic State has proven to be much more callous than the Ottoman Empire, and it has not been able to establish set borders or receive international recognition from other governments as most historical caliphates have done. First difference: Ottoman religious tolerance versus Islamic State religious intolerance. The Ottomans follow the Sharia, the Islamic law derived from the Quran and Hadith. It is seen as an overall way of life by the Muslims who follow it. Because of the Sharia, the Ottomans tolerated religions such as Christianity and polytheism or paganism. On the other hand, the Islamic State follows a much more strict version of the Sharia. In fact, the Islamic State attacked people they considered to be heretics simply because they practice a different religion than Islam. According to the British Broadcasting Company's article, the Islamic State group, The Full Story, an ancient religious group, the Yazidis, were brutally attacked, and hundreds of Yazidi men who failed to escape were simply killed. Women and children were separated and taken away as war booty to be sold and bartered as chattels and used as sex slaves. Thousands are still missing, enduring this fate. Second difference: Ottoman ability to be recognized as an Islamic caliphate versus Islamic State's inability. Because the Ottoman Empire was capable of establishing a core territory in order to conquer more nearby territories, it was recognized by other nation-states as an Islamic caliphate. These other territories include territories that were previously controlled by Sunni Muslims, Orthodox Christians, Gregorian Monophysite Armenians, and the Jews. However, the Islamic State originally attempted to take large amounts of land, which led to heavy resistance from local militias and nation-states such as the United States and United Kingdom, along with Kurdish militia help using guerrilla warfare tactics. In one article titled, "What is the Islamic State?" the British Broadcasting Company wrote, "The jihadist group Islamic State, or IS, burst onto the international scene in 2014 when it seized large swaths of territory in Syria and Iraq. It has become notorious for its brutality, including mass killings, abductions, and beheadings. The group has attracted support elsewhere in the Muslim world, and a US-led coalition has vowed to destroy it." First similarity: both the Islamic State and Ottoman Empire governed through theocratic Islamic governments. Enforcing the Sharia law and its consequences, such as cutting off the right hand of someone caught stealing, would define the Ottoman Empire as a theocratically governed empire. In the book, The Ottoman Empire and World History, Arnold Joseph Toynbee writes, "The Eurasian nomad founders of the Ottoman Empire had been converted to Islam en route from the steppe across Southwest Asia to the northwest corner of Anatolia. The population of the empire was organized in half a dozen ecclesiastically governed autonomous communities. These communities, known as millets, were spread throughout the empire. Having been a firm believer in the Islamic State for many years, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the leader of the Islamic State, decided to turn it into a caliphate on June 29, 2014. This declaration of a caliphate also led to him calling on all Muslims of the world to rally behind him as one unified Islamic force. In the British Broadcasting Company's article, Islamic State Group, The Full Story, they wrote, "The change was signaled on 29th of June by the proclamation of the Islamic State, replacing all previous incarnations and the establishment of the caliphate. A few days later, the newly anointed Caliph Ibrahim, aka Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, made a surprise appearance in Mosul in the pulpit of the historic Grand Mosque of Nur al-Din al-Zanki, heavily laden with anti-Crusader associations. He called on the world's Muslims to rally behind him." Second similarity: Both the Ottoman Empire and Islamic State attempted to conquer nearby territories to achieve global recognition as a dominant militant force. Sweeping through the Tigris River Valley unnoticed, the Islamic State militants were able to take small villages and towns before they reached their ultimate goal, the second largest city in Iraq, Mosul. Because Mosul is such a large city, the Iraqi army did all it could to defend it from the jihadists. After a few days of battle with the Iraqi army, more Islamic State militants attacked the city of Kirkuk, about 175 kilometers away from Mosul, and captured it within the day. Because of this strategic takeover, the Islamic State was able to gain more global publicity, which led to new members from worldwide countries such as France and the UK to join. In its article titled "The Islamic State Group: The Full Story," the British Broadcasting Company describes the Islamic State's rise to power as morphing swiftly into a new mode of being, like a rocket jettisoning its career. No longer just a shadowy terrorist group, it was suddenly a jihadist army, not only threatening the Iraqi state, but challenging the entire world. Similarly, the Ottomans, who at the time of their conquest were much smaller in number than the Byzantines, attacked the Byzantine Empire's capital, Constantinople. After a 53-day siege of the Byzantines' capital, Constantinople finally fell to the Ottoman Empire. With this victory, the Ottomans now had a very strategically located capital for their empire. Describing the importance of this strategically located capital, Şevket Pamuk writes in his book, titled Institutional Change and the Longevity of the Ottoman Empire, years 1500 to 1800, the culmination of its ethos is the capture of the Byzantine capital Constantinople. With a fixed imperial capital, the Ottoman polity becomes a world empire that reaches the height of its institutional development and the limit of its expansion concurrently in the century following the taking of Constantinople. Major causes of the Islamic State. Not referred to as Islamic State at the time, in 2004, the group sprouted from another jihadist group known as Al-Qaeda. Having been defeated in Iraq, the Islamic State group moved to Syria to fight in the civil war, and returned to Iraq with a new leader, new reinforcements, and a new motivation. Because many of them had lost their military positions after the Gulf War, military officers in Saddam Hussein's army joined the Islamic State in hopes of good pay. The officers began to train the jihadist force into a true military. Because the Shiite-heavy government of Iraq had marginalized the Sunni Muslims, the jihadist group was able to win the support of many Sunni-populated regions, which eventually led to the formation of the Islamic State.